Hey sis.
Hey, Sister Circle.
I'm your big sis April.
And I'm your little sis Tiffany. And we are Sister Talk Network Podcast.
Sisters bridging the generational gap while encouraging candid conversation
And healing amongst women, friends, and sisters. You have a sister now.
Hey sis.
Hey sis.
Hey Sister Circle.
Hey y'all, we back.
We are back. I am your big sis April.
And I'm your little sis Tiffany.
And welcome to Sister Talk Network Podcast.
Yes.
Thanks for tuning in. You could be doing anything else,
Yes.
but you chose to be with us during this time, and we are grateful. Thank you. I hope everybody is doing well today. I wanted to circle back because when we got started with this journey, like we've been vocal and we've told our sister circle that we both suffered with anxiety and depression. And we talked in depth about anxiety, like a whole episode, but we never talked about the depression piece of it in depth. And for me, I honestly think it's because that was the harder part of it. Like it was easy to talk about, not easy, but easier to talk about anxiety because that's something that I feel in a moment. It's like it's capsulated in a moment of time and then it passes. But depression is so much deeper because it's like a place that you can sit in for years and years and years, and a lot harder to combat. So I wanted to talk about that, unpack that, and our whole spirit of transparency. We said we're going to talk about everything. So just to talk a little bit about our journey and when we discovered it was depression and those things. So you want to tell me a little bit about yours first?
I think with mine, it took me a while to have a name for it. And just because just in the era that we grew up in, just you got to be strong. You got to figure this out. You don't have time for depression. Like you don't have time to be feeling sorry for yourself. You can't sit in it.
Right.
So it's like a pile up of emotions. So then when you're faced with your first trigger, that's when you figure out, okay, you either snapping or you balled up in the corner crying somewhere. And this is like, where did all of this come from?
Yeah.
I love because Jim Carrey actually talked about depression. He said depression comes because when you're trying to press down a version of you that you were ultimately created for.
Oh, that's good.
And now I think I heard him say that like almost a year ago. It shined so much light for me because I noticed in the moments where my light is trying to be dimmed, where I'm not able to, or people try to not allow me to be my authentic self, is when I get depressed. That's my trigger. If you try to change me, ultimately then, and I'm not talking about the stuff that you need to change, but if you are trying to change me or try to diminish my value, I get depressed. And that's where it's just like, I'm not staying there. You can't drag me down to this place and then make me stay here when I crawled my way out.
So if I'm hearing you, there's a difference from where you were versus where you are now. And when people would try to diminish your value, try to put you in a box, or try to take control, you would go into a depressed state because you felt like you couldn't combat what they were saying or doing, and you just had to conform to what they wanted from you.
The sad part is I was more worried about other people's comfortability than
yours.
my own.
Okay.
So a lot of times I dimmed my light or I altered just me being like, even in certain situations, I'm loud. Like I like to be on the dance floor until the DJ pack up. I like to have a good time. And if not everybody is acceptable to that, I would sit down. Yeah. So like even stuff like that, like watching everybody else have a good time. I love talking to people. I love encouraging people. So being in an atmosphere where I feel as though I can't do that.
that sends you into depression.
It sends me into depression.
Yeah.
So and then being at COVID literally shut everything
that put
down.
everybody in a depressive
So it's just
state.
like now I don't feel safe being in those atmospheres. So now, my depression was highlighted in that 2-year span of just not being able to have access to what I needed.
Yeah, I think for everybody, COVID, people that didn't even recognize that they had depression realized they had depression during that point. But I want to circle back to something you said about being in certain settings and feeling like you couldn't act the way that you wanted to act because of your company. And me and my girlfriends laugh about that because we talk about, and don't get me wrong, we're never disrespectful when our husbands are not around.
Yeah.
But we talk about what our fun looks like when we're with our husbands and what our fun looks like when we're not with our husbands. And it took a long time for me to get to the point where it's like, okay, no, I'm going to be free to be me no matter what. But like we would all be out in a group setting, the couples, and it's like a little joke and we do a little dance. It's like, ooh, they looking, but just not being free to be me or us. Where now, no, I'm not doing that. Because I'm never doing anything disrespectful, period. So if you're a little embarrassed about me being me, then you just gonna have to suck that up.
Yeah, or don't come. Stay home.
No, but I want you to come because I embrace you for who you are. So I need you to do the same for me. But don't get me wrong. You will have your times when it's just like, okay, this is just the girls. But I don't want it to ever be like, I'd rather go by myself because you're not going to conform and allow me to be me. And I did that for years. I told you that. But I'm not doing that anymore.
Yeah, I'm in my season of no middle ground.
Yeah.
So it's either you let me be me or you stay home.
Yeah. And you're okay with that. Yeah. But that I was like that for years.
Yeah, I'm just gotten to that point of we could take separate cars and I'm cool. I'm no longer mad if you don't ride. I prefer us to take
I still prefer separate cars.
I didn't. I never preferred separate cars. Like I was always like, oh, we riding together. Oh, we look cute. Get out the car. No, now it's just like, no, we can take separate cars. It's fine. Like some situations, like I know, got the third row. All my girlfriends want to get the car. No, we can all take separate cars. We want to all ride together.
Yeah, and it's okay because you may be ready to go and I'm not, or vice versa. So it's fine. That's fine. Now, for me, for all of my life, like honestly, for as long as I can remember, my very few memories I have as a kid, which is a whole nother topic we're gonna come back to at some point, but I remember always being sad. Always sad with just splashes of happy moments that like may have come in.
Yeah.
And I didn't have a word to attach to it, which was depression, until I was an adult. And went to a therapy session because I was having stress at work and just seeking some help. And when, of course, they ask you all kinds of questions. And he said, have you ever been diagnosed with depression? No, I've been sad. I just always called it sad. But it wasn't sadness. It was depression. And he helped me understand the difference between sadness and depression. Like sadness is something that is attached to an event. It's an event or, like a life change, a challenge, and you work through it. But if you're unable to overcome that, or you're just sad for no reason, which was my story most of the time, or I would create these scenarios in my mind that would make me sad. I'm like, why? And would just sit in it literally for weeks, months, years, the what ifs, the all of the stuff that anxiety ties into, because that's where you create these scenarios. And then you're like on a downward spiral of what the heck is happening here.
I did it over this weekend. We took our kids. Me and one of my friends took our kids to Dave and Buster's, and like we had some older kids with us that was responsible, and they had a cell phone. So she's like, "Okay, you can just let them go play by yourself." What?
I wouldn't do that, y'all.
I would never. Like, you want my kids to be out of eyesight in a public place? No. Like now, you really messing with. You talk about anxiety, depression, just spiked out of control. I checked the exit. to make sure that there was no other way, that God forbid something happened and somebody tried to snatch my kid.
that they could
you
get
only
out.
got one door that you can go out of. I need to know where the kitchen is. I need to know where's the bathroom and what other exits are near this bathroom. And I scanned the whole entire place before I sat down close to the exit, because there's only one. Yeah. And I'm like, I'm gonna sit right near these doors, because anything happened, I'm going off. Because there's so much going on, like even with kids. I watched this like short documentary of the way they snatch little girls. They bring a change of boy clothes and they shave their heads in the bathroom. So by that time, you're looking for your child. You're looking for what they had on. We packing our kids in bright clothing, and you're looking for the hairstyle. You're not even able. They're walking past you with your kid.
Wow, I've never heard that before. Oh my God.
I'm just like,
Mm-hmm. That's deep.
That's why my kids got braids. Try shade these off. Yeah. It's not coming out. It's not coming out. It's easy.
Yeah, that's deep. I never heard that, but I can totally get that. Like being a mom in the world we live in now is so different from years ago when the kids were growing up. So I get that. But what you were saying, it's not funny, but it made me chuckle a little bit because it's almost like, it reminds me, because my husband worked in law enforcement. Yeah. And that's how he is. Like he will know when we sit down, first off, his back can't be towards the door. Yes. And he's scanning everything where I'm oblivious. I won't even pretend, y'all. But he's now telling me you have to be aware of your surroundings. So that's a good thing. Especially as being a mom. It reminds me of the scripture that says, be anxious for nothing, but in everything with prayer and thanksgiving, make your requests known to God, and he'll give you the peace which passes all understanding. And I think that lines up with both anxiety and depression, for us to submit those things to God. You know, and we all the time, we were just talking about this morning and last night, where we have those things in our lives where, again, and we talk about it all the time, sisters, that we try to handle them in our own strength and control, and it just doesn't work. And even for me, just the lack of understanding from family members, I won't say friends, because I would never disclose that to friends, like being depressed. But if someone doesn't deal with depression, they can't understand. Like I can remember for years, I didn't even talk to my husband about it, because he's always been this free spirit, you know, just going, doing, never down. Or if he's sad about something, like even to death, like he's had death in his family, but he has the mentality that you have to live life and just keep on going. So for somebody like him, he didn't understand why can't you just get up? Just get up. They don't get it. They don't get it.
And they're black men.
But I don't even think necessarily men. Do you think it's just men?
I don't think it's just men. Like when we talk about how everybody says, like, which one are you operating more in, the masculinity or the femininity? Okay. So I feel as though there's some women who naturally have more masculine energy based off of who they were raised. Like if you have somebody who was raised primarily with their dad, they're going to be more masculine.
Okay, so it's the masculine piece.
Yes, so they're not looking at, they're able to, and I have one of my friends that's a prime example of this, because she's the daddy's girl, her dad raised her, she bounces back. Like she's like, okay, I got it. Okay. But also, depression shows up different for black women than it does for so many other cultures. Okay. It shows up as aggression for us. And I never knew that until I was listening to one of the psychologists, and she was saying she had to, when she was diagnosing one of her clients, she had to explain it to her.
So aggression in what sense? Aggression, I want to be able to tap into what you're saying.
Irritability. Okay. Yes. With us, that's how depression shows up, because it's not just showing up. It's not always just showing up like the picture of the curl in the corner, because we've been told we can't do that. Yeah. So it's showing up in other areas.
Yeah. Yeah. I totally get. That makes sense to me, and I totally get it, because for me, the whole irritability of, I just can't deal with you right now, but not being able to articulate that I can't deal with you right now because I don't have the mental capacity, because it took everything I had in me just to get up and get out the bed and put some clothes on.
Yeah.
That's a good one. I never thought about it like that.
Yeah.
I never thought about it like that. But it's been a long road. Like, it's definitely been a long road for me. And it wasn't until just over the last few years, which we talk about, where I've been able to identify it and put a name on it and to start to fight back.
Yeah.
Am I healed? Nope.
Yeah. I'm usually good as long as it's a situation that I can control. Like, if it's like, okay, if I can control it, I'm good. Or if I can figure my way out of it. I would say the one instance where I couldn't find my way out of it. And I honestly, you talking about the footprints in the sand, my favorite one about Jesus carrying you through the storms, is when I had a miscarriage.
Yeah.
I couldn't crawl out of that myself. I didn't understand what was going on. I honestly blamed God for it.
Of course, a lot of people do. It's not just you.
I couldn't do it. I didn't want to get up. I didn't want to eat, which is a big one. Like,
Yeah.
I don't want to eat. I might not do nothing else, but I'm gonna eat. But I couldn't crawl up out of it. Like, he carried me out of that one, because I have no evidence of, okay, how
did I make it over? Yeah. You got to share that painting. That's an awesome painting of Jesus carrying you, and just like it was 2 footprints and then it's just one and it's his. Yeah. Hello, depression. I got the lesson. No need for another session. You had me for years and I shed a lot of tears, but your time is done. The battle is won. Downtrodden no more, and God promised to restore everything that was lost, because he paid the ultimate cost. And this life with him is full of joy and peace within. Redeemed from a life of sin, hiding his word deep within. This word is my sword, my ultimate weapon, my firm foundation, a God connection. So farewell, depression, because I'm using my weapons. No longer can you lie to me, because my God is carrying me. I am free on this healing journey to become everything God called me to be. Okay, sis, let's go. But for me, I almost wish I could attach it to something. But it generally was just a state of being, which I got confirmation that it was a generational thing. Yeah. Like, it had nothing to do with circumstances. It was a generational thing that was passed down to me because it came on in such an early age. Life didn't do it. No circumstances did it. I was just stuck. So I have to be deliberate now, because with something like that that's not tied to anything, it's so easy for me to slip back into that, and I refuse. Fighting, kicking, like because you said, foot on neck.
Yes, it's your longest routine.
Yeah.
So it's easy to be like, okay, I'm sit in bed, watch TV all day long, go get a snack. And to everybody else, it looks like laziness.
Yeah. Yes. I'm so glad you said that.
Push you worse. It gets worse. Like, all you're piling on my depression that I already have.
I'm so glad you said that, because it does appear as laziness. But for us, and for anybody that suffer with depression, you can relate. It just feels like I can't get up. Or I'm so tired. Why am I so tired? I don't understand. I slept all night. Why am I so tired? But just the energy to, like, and I remember days where just the energy to clean one room in the house was all and sometimes not even the whole room. I'm gonna go in the bathroom. I'm just clean the tub and shower out. Yeah. And that's literally took so much out of me that I felt like I couldn't do anything more. So to any of you in our sister circle that deal with depression, suffer with depression, by no means are we therapists. We don't claim to be. And I do recommend therapy if it's something that you haven't been able to overcome. But you're not lazy. It doesn't make you a bad person. It doesn't make you weak. It doesn't make you any of those things that society tries to label you as. but you can overcome. We are prime examples that you can overcome. Every day it is not perfect, and we know that, but we're now deliberate in saying, I'm not going to sit in this. Yeah. If I got to get up and do something, go to the door and get some fresh air, walk outside, do something. Yeah.
There's a I want to say a native practice that I learned when I got my garden.
Okay.
About staying grounded. You know how everybody say always stay grounded? Mm-hmm. But it's something with your vibrations in the earth. And that's why people walked with no shoes on. And I realized it definitely works.
Yeah.
Like, just to be able to walk outside. I do it every day now. Mm-hmm. Like, okay, it's nice outside now. Oh, I'm definitely doing it. My toes is going to hit that grass every day. Yeah. Because it does. It helps you feel so much better.
One of the girls in our, we have a naked challenge prayer on Friday. She talked about that. Yeah. About when, because they wanted to know, like, when you're depressed, or when you're feeling like you need to free up some space in your mind, was the topic that day. What do you do? And she talks about just being able to get her feet in some grass. For me, I need to get my feet on some sand. It's just the sand and the sound of the ocean takes me to like a place of calm and just, yeah. But what I have learned is that, and had to accept, is there's no easy quick fix. Mm-hmm. You know, it's like you want to snap your finger and, okay, I'm better. Yeah. But it doesn't work that way.
It doesn't.
It doesn't work that way. And being able to accept that and to actually just feel it, sit in it, feel it like we said, and then get up. But I heard this saying and it says, feel it, exclamation, feel it, feel it, feel it. The thing you don't want to feel it, and then be free. And it's something that I think we have to continually tell ourselves. It doesn't fix in one time. Every time it comes up again, we have to feel it, sit in it, and be free. But we were just talking about this last night where we always, because we're fixers by nature, that's what we do. We don't want to sit in anything. We wanted to just be better. We want to move on. We want to get over it. But in life, there are instances where there's no easy fix. And I had an instance maybe like a month ago with this. And something happened. And in my mind's eye, that night, it's like, no, I got to come up with a solution. What am I going to do? What am I going to do? What am I going to do? Yeah. And hearing God saying, no. Lean on me, lean not on your own understanding, and that he will guide me if I seek him first. Yeah. And it's hard.
Yeah, I'm like sisters, I'm going through it now.
Yeah.
And I was telling God, I was pissed. Mm-hmm. I was like, if you gonna make me go through this, you gonna have to sit with me.
Yeah, he
like
will.
I'm not sitting. I can't. If you're going to, anytime you're allowing me to go through something, okay, what are you trying to get out of me that I don't know that you're trying to get out of me? Yeah. And I need you to come sit with me with this because I can't do it by myself.
And he is.
Yeah,
he is. And I applaud you and give her a shout out. Kudos to my sister for being tenacious. And we made a commitment to God first, to our sister circle, to be consistent with this. And sometimes it's hard, y'all. It's hard because, as you know, you all deal with life. We dealing with life, you know, and things are coming up, things happen, and it's hard. It's hard to keep going, but we believe, and God has told us that as we're obedient to him, that healing comes to us. And healing comes to others. So you're going to get through it.
Y'all know you.
You are going to get through it and come out stronger and better. But when we had, this is the last episode, like for anybody that hasn't watched it, please go back and watch it. We were just talking about our why and how we came to be at this point. I don't even have a tissue for it.
It's okay.
And God stated clearly that this was a pivotal moment. So we know that anytime we're moving in the right direction, adversity is going to come. And that's what this is. Adversity is coming because we are on the right track, but we are not giving up. We not giving up.
This is harder this time because y'all know I be ready to fight.
Yeah.
And like I can't handle situations the way I would before.
Yeah.
So it's kind of like the sleeping lion where I could bite you.
Yeah.
Because you messing with me right now, but God's not allowing me to get you. So I'm like, okay. Yeah. And I remember one of the reels I was watching, she was like, my guy hit harder than me, so I'm going to let him throw hands first. Yeah. So I was like, all right, throw hands. Because if you're not letting me get them, oh, you're going to have to get them.
Mm-hmm. And you have to trust that even when you don't see it, because sometimes you don't see the work that he's doing. It takes a while for you to see the manifestation of it. But you have to trust that he is still doing the work on your behalf behind the scenes. Because I was telling you just yesterday, when we were talking about some things, and I had a prayer. I prayed a prayer on your behalf. And God today confirming for me what he's doing based on that prayer on your behalf. But it puts you in a really uncomfortable spot. But growth is uncomfortable. It's uncomfortable. And for this next season, I dare to say we're going to have a whole lot of uncomfortable moments. But we're going to get through it. We're going to get through it. And we're not alone, sisters. You are not alone. We are going to get through it and continue to submit our way to God daily and allow him to do what he wants to do and believe and have faith that the other side of it looks so much better. So much better.
Michael Todd was just talking about that.
What he said? You sent me the sermon, but I didn't even listen to it yet.
He was in my business.
Mm-hmm. See,
and
he always is.
And it was yesterday's episode. Like, and I'm like, how you in my business before it even happened? Yeah. Like, you did this morning. Like, are you kidding me? But he was talking about the mystery and being the hope and how hope and faith is so closely aligned. And if you have hope, you have faith. And he was talking about the women with the issue of blood.
Oh.
And I'm just like, you have got to be kidding. But he laid out her footprints. He was talking about how her being in pain, she had to get ready before everybody else. Everybody's running and chasing Jesus. She had to mark out where he could possibly be because she couldn't run with everybody else.
She had to map it out, huh? Yeah. Wow. That's good. I'm going to have to listen to that because I didn't have a chance to listen to it today when you sent it. But I am going to listen to it. And like even with the whole depression thing, like faith, we can't do anything without faith. And faith is the substance of things hoped for, the evidence of things not seen. Yes. So even with depression in general, like we have to continue to submit it, like I said, to God. And I'm grateful for being where I am now, but definitely still a work in progress. Yeah. And we're going to come back for part 2 on this one because it's a lot. It's heavy. And just we can talk about some of the tools that we use because it's a lot to unpack. It's a lot to unpack and it's hard to talk about. Yeah. It's really hard to talk about. But for now, it's just another one of those generational curses that we talk about, for me anyway. It's definitely a generational curse that we are going to break. Your kids won't have to deal with it. The generations after that won't have to deal with it. And even if they do, they are going to have the tools to know how to fight back. So we coming back with that. So we are going to wrap up because this was a heavy one. And we do want to come back and talk about the tools that we use, which we'll do on the next episode. So stay tuned for part 2. But we are going to end with our last saying that we do with every episode, and that is, what does sisterhood mean to you? And I didn't even think about it today. Did
you? I would say realistic.
That's good.
I'm saying that for me because I'll promise the world and then not being realistic of what it actually takes to do it because I want to provide so much for the people that I love. So it's like I don't look at what's the detriment or what does it cost. What does it cost in order to do this and being okay with the price of it. Yeah. Like there's certain things that's like I'm not willing, and there's certain things I will overperform and like, okay, I'm gonna do this and I'm gonna do that, but at the end, it cost me too much and I should have never did it. So just
Yeah.
for me, sisterhood is me being realistic and saying, hey, I can provide this. Or no, right now I'm at a I'm at a 9 right now, and
Mm-hmm.
I'm nowhere near 100. So
Mm-hmm.
I can't give you what you want.
What you're looking for. So properly gauging where you are
Mm-hmm.
to be and how what the cost is to you. And
Mm-hmm.
that's true. Like we definitely, I think a lot of times aren't realistic in expectations where it applies to us. And Sarah Jakes, I think it was Sarah Jakes that was talking about this, and it was just us trying to overperform, like what you're
Oh
saying, and
yeah.
where she said, like, I think it was one of her friends where one of her friends was going through something, and she said to them, "Oh, please let me know if I can do anything for you or how I can help." And the
Mm-hmm.
friend said,
Yeah.
"What you gonna do? You
Right.
can't do nothing. You so busy right now." But
Yeah.
we do it. We overextend ourselves, like probably because we feel like we have to, but no, we
Yeah.
don't. Like we have to consider ourselves always. And I am at a point now where I'm not glorifying being busy no more. Like I don't have a problem saying no, which is another
Yeah.
topic we're going to talk about.
Yes.
And I don't get me wrong, I'm still struggling with the reasons, which we talk about.
Yeah.
But I don't have a problem with saying no, I can't do that, or this is where I'm at. So kudos to you for recognizing that, and changing the narrative going forward. For me, today sisterhood means covering. And I think we have to cover each other, which we do. You and I do. And the people that are around us, and cover each other in the good and the bad. Like a friend is somebody who is there for it all.
Yeah.
A sister is somebody who's there for it all. And in those times where you feel like you're weak and you can't do it, or I don't have the strength for whatever it is, we need our sisters to cover us.
Yeah.
So I am covering you.
I know.
I am covering you. And like you said, God is not allowing us to fight in the way that we used to, where we would just go off.
Yeah, both of us. Be like, listen, what?
Yeah.
Because you was like, I'm about to tell so and so to
Yeah.
take this and take that. And
Yeah,
like,
girl, I can't even tell y'all what I said, but blank you, blank you, blank you, blank you. Y'all fill in the blanks.
Yeah.
But we can't fight like we used to fight, and we have to rely solely on him, and it's so uncomfortable to sit in it. But watch what he's gonna do. Would you say Usher says, watch this, watch this, watch this, watch this.
yeah.
Watch what he's gonna do. Yeah. So, sisters, we are gonna wrap up there. Thank you for tuning in. We want you to enjoy the rest of your evening, and we will see you soon.
See you.
Bye. Did it. That was 35 minutes or 33 And then tomorrow we'll do the second part. And then next Monday we'll do that third one.